Thank you, Mohammed, for introducing me. Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for being here in the latest session of the day. Also, thank you very much for those attending virtually. It's a pleasure to be here talking about our products and the work that we've been developing for the past 2 years. So the agenda for the day, we're gonna go through some ABI numbers. Also, I'm gonna talk about the previous state of our architecture and how we needed a paradigm shift regarding data. Also, I'm gonna show you guys how easy and accessible is to build a model in our platform. And of course, I'm gonna talk about next steps and lessons learned. So about ABI, right? We are the world's largest brewery. I guess one of you had tried our products. We own around the world more than 630 beer brands, including Corona, Budweiser, Stella Artois, among others. So our story starts in 1366 with the Artois Brewery in Belgium, and since that, we've keeping strong numbers with our customers. As you can see, we are present in more than 50 countries. We have more than 200 breweries, and we have 48% of market share and around 6 million customers around the globe. But we are a beer company. We're not a tech company. So you can imagine the struggle for us to start with legacy systems and try to go through all of the digital transformation that we had. So we all have seen the scenario, right? We have legacy systems, we have legacy architectures, a lot of RPAs, a bunch of spreadsheets, manual ETLs, so on and so forth. So based on that, we had together across the globe a team force to work together to go through the digital transformation. We had a lot of problems to solve, a lot of technical gaps. This was not going to be sustainable for longer. That architecture that we had before was not going to be sustainable. There was a lot of data loss. There was no governance at all. And there was also a centralization attempt because we work with a lot of zones. But when we tried to centralize everything, we noticed that every zone works different. So we need to make it tailored for every zone. So we desperately need a paradigm shift at this point. So what happened was that the team across the globe, they got together, the architecture teams, the system design, and they start to redesign all of our legacy systems. And then we needed a team in Brazil to keep this work going. So we partnered with them and we gathered a small team to build the data lake and all the ecosystem that surrounds it. We needed a place to data analytics. We needed a place for machine learning. We needed a place to access our data, right? So that's why we start building our data platform in Brazil. And we built it based on these principles. We need to deliver value to the users, not only the data scientists, but also the business users. The process had to be seamless, had to be smooth. We need the users, the data scientists, the machine learning engineers to be able to reproduce the code. We needed to do it in a very collaborative way. We also want to reduce all the technical debt that we had. So the data scientists would actually be concerned about the model and not about the process or the infrastructure. And we also want to apply a tech product vision, which means that we were going to treat this as a product, so it's lifelong building, and we could sustain that as much as we could. So here is the overview of our products. We have 3 major products: the data ingestion product, the data intelligence product, and the data access. And surrounding all that, inherent of all that, we have the data governance layer. So we build this ecosystem to be a very unique end-to-end experience to the user, very smooth, very seamless. So we abstract as much code as we could, but we still kept a robust architecture from the inside and very easy, accessible, and inclusive on the outside. And we did that, creating 2 products that I'm very proud of. So the first one is our library. We have our own library, and it's the foundation of everything that we build. So it's collaborative, so everybody in the company is welcome to help us develop more features inside the library. And it's really easy for the user to read and write data from and to the data lake. And also avoids code duplication. You can imagine in a company that big how much code duplication we have. And we also built our own maestro, which we named after Quincy Jones, right? So Quincy is an airflow abstraction because we observed that it was really hard for the users, the entry-level users primarily, to deal with airflow. So we developed a tool that transforms YAML files to DAGs, and it helps on the ETL and the batch models. So putting all of this together, we have a very fast, accessible, and reliable architecture. So I'm going to deep dive into our products now. The first one is the data ingestion platform. So our vision for this product is to have easy data for all. So like I mentioned, we partner with other teams at the zones, especially with the architecture teams, because they were redesigning all of the legacy systems that we had. So for the data ingestion, we need to make sure that we had connectors and ways to gather all of that data and bring into our data lake. So to orchestrate all of that, we use Airflow and Quincy, like I mentioned before, and to pre-process the data, we use Databricks. It's also easy to the user to monitor everything that is happening with Datadog. And today we have around 400 users, 5,000 deploys, and the equivalent of 300 terabytes of data. And the next product I would like to deep dive into is the data intelligence platform, which is the product that I'm actually taking care of nowadays. So this product is the heart of the ensemble structure that we have, because that's the place that the data scientists and the machine learning engineers, they can build their models, deploy their models, and so on and so forth. So we use the combination of Databricks and MLflow to build and keep track of the models and compare all the models, and also the Airflow and Quincy to the deploy. Also, we use GitHub to maintain the core of our codes. So we have the repositories, and I'm going to dig into this later. But we have around 150 users now, 10 machine learning models in production, and around 50 being made in development. In order to make easier for the user, like I mentioned, we want to keep a robust architecture, but we want to make it accessible for everyone to build a model. We also develop a data science template into our repository. So when the data scientist is going to develop a model, we build like a skeleton, like a framework, which is a series of steps that the user could easily follow to deploy the model. So we have a folder for analysis where the user can just make a statistical analysis or validate with the business. We have a folder for documentation, which is really important. You document your feature predictions and all the metadata of your product. And all of this information go to our catalog. We also have a folder with examples for the users to follow that. And we have the source, where the code is actually stored. So we have all the ML pipeline into this folder, which is the feature engineering, the train, the predict, the serving, and the specifications of the environment. Moving forward, we have the data access platform, which is a product that allows us to share data across the zones and with our business users. And if you have a machine learning model, you can also share your outputs with whoever you want inside the company. So we have also the 170 users so far, more than 10,000 queries, and around 1 million API requests every week. And surrounding all of that, we have the data governance layer, which makes everything coming together, making sure that we are sustainable and compliant. They take care of the catalog, they take care of our wiki, that is a way to explain to everybody what they're supposed to do when they're using our products, and the GDPR, and so on and so forth. So now I would like to show you some highlights of our architecture and how easy it is to build and to deploy a model inside our environment. So let's start again with data ingestion, right? So in one side, we have all of the data sources of the company. So we have all the legacy systems, all the data that you want to input. So we made really easy for the user just to pull the data out of the systems, upload the data, and put in our data lake. We really want the user to worry about the data and not the process. So after you put all the data on our data lake is divided in 3 zones. The first one is the raw zone. We also have a trusted zone and the consume zone. The raw zone, as the name says, is where the raw data is. So the data without any kinds of transformation. Also the trusted zone, we start to apply some transformation, to hash some sensitive columns, to cast some other columns, and so on and so forth. And the consume zone is where the data is ready to be consumed by the user. So how the user does it, right? So basically, what they have to do is to fill out a YAML file to create a DAG that is going to be scheduled in our Airflow and go to our data lake to be consumed. So I brought an example here of the document that they have to fill. So it's some information about the DAG itself, like the ID, the class, the type, when it's going to be the schedule interval, and also if you want some specific data sets, like what's the name of the data set, if it's active or not, what is the domain, and so on and so forth. We also allow the user to pre-process the data inside the YAML file. So if you want to join a table or if you want to make a transformation, you can also make here. And then you're good to go. If you just want to extract some data or show some results to your business, you're ready. You can just access it through Metabase or Power BI or any other visualization tool, or put through an API, and you'll be good to go. But what if you want to build a model? So our data intelligence was built to worry about the model and not the infrastructure. So as I mentioned before, we have this environment with Databricks and MLflow and GitHub that allow us to develop everything, orchestrate everything, and put everything in production. So to start to developing the model, you need to access the data science template. Before that, you get access to the Databricks, where you're going to receive your own cluster, or your own team is going to receive a cluster. And after that, you can just simply clone our repository on repos, and all the skeletons going to be there, and you just follow the steps. And like I mentioned, we also developed a library, so it's easy to read and write the data. So as you can see, we have a file writer where you put the path of the data that you're gonna read. And then after that, you can query. You can make your query, you can join tables, you can do whatever you want in your analysis, right? And then after that, you can transform to pandas and start all of your EDA. And after that, if you wanna fully finish your journey through ML, you can start building your feature engineering, right? So we also had a template for that, and it's pretty straightforward. Again, you can read all the data from our data lake and make all the transformations and remove outliers and do whatever you want. This is not, you don't have to follow this, but it's very good for entry-level professionals that really want to break through and develop machine learning in our systems. Okay, after that, you have to create your experiment on MLflow, so that will allow you to track everything, to compare experiments, and see which model is better than the other one. You're gonna also track your metrics, and so on and so forth. So we also have a template to training the model. So again, we read all the feature engineering, we can train our model, we can split all the data, and everything's gonna be recorded on MLflow. Same thing for the prediction. So we have everything already set up. You can load the data, make your prediction right back on the data lake, and expose that to whoever it is. And then when you have your model ready, you are ready to deploy, right? So how does it work? We also have a CI/CD automation structure on that. So you basically just make your pull request with the model that you want, and then the Azure, once it's approved, the Azure Pipelines is gonna help us on that. It's gonna check all the documentation, if everything is correct. If it is, it's gonna go to production, and you can access the data, and again, using our library, that's pretty much easier. And then after you have all of this done, you need to schedule your task, right? So you need to get these results from time to time. So the first way to do it is through a batch validation. So again, you just fill up a YAML file, a DAG that is gonna generate a task, and with the DAG types and the tasks that you want. So we also have a file in our repository called main, which is basically gonna say, I want you to run this, and this file in this order. So you put everything on your DAG and you're good to go. So after that, you just open a pull request in our repository at Quincy, and then there's a sidecar that is gonna get everything which is in the master branch and put in the Airflow. So with Quincy in our library, that's pretty much what you have to do. You also can deploy through an API. So basically, you just open also a pull request in our repository. We also have a template for the API. So after you do that, we're gonna orchestrate, and we're gonna expose this through Azure Functions and manage it through the API management. And that's it. Enjoy the actionable insights you're gonna get from all of our products. Then if you have all of your outputs, you can just show with whoever you want. And for the next steps, we're gonna go implement the Delta, because we see that a lot of our data sources require data. It's gonna be too expensive, or it's not gonna work if we don't implement that. We also are trying to abstract more of the API process, so the user, they have more flexibility and more accessibility to use it. And we're also going to build a metrics platform, which is going to be like the data intelligence, but not for machine learning, for everything else. And lessons learned, I think the first thing is governance since day one, and don't productionize Clutch. Otherwise, we're going to have data swamp. And really is to use the tools that support grow and to be scalable. We started as a team of 3 people, and now we are almost 20. And these are the amazing team that made all this happen. And Daniel and Pang are here. If you guys have any technical questions, they're our technical leaders. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Renata. If we have time for questions, so yeah. Just a second, coming.
Nice presentation, nice project. 2 questions actually. Any plans to open source the project to orchestration? And the second one is about the Presto. I see the Presto in front of your data. Why not Databricks SQL, or when you implement, you don't have Databricks? Any plans to change this layer or not?
Yeah, so first one, we never talk about it. So we develop everything internally. So basically we have a lot of products that a lot of other companies do, and that's our job to do that, but we made everything internally. And about the Presto, now Trino, right? They changed the name. Trino is a federated company, and they get data from more sources nowadays. So we actually are going to pilot something with the Databricks and Databricks SQL. But for now, Presto Trino is working better for us.
Again, very nice presentation. And I guess many companies face the same thing. Challenge is how can build a platform for the internal customers, then facilitate the transformation from legacy to cloud. So my question is how long the efforts it took come to today, to the stage you presented?
Oh, okay. So we started 2 years ago.
Wow, that's quite efficient, I would say.
Yeah, it is. So we started 2 years ago, and the intelligence, the data intelligence product has a little bit more than a year. So we are very advanced, I would say.
Thanks to the presentation.
Thank you.
I'm interested because it sounds like this is very democratized and many people within the company have access to it.
Yeah.
How do you balance the democracy with don't productionize Clutch? Do you have any learnings from that?
Oh, yeah, it's really hard. So we have a team of governance, and we also are very close to our users. So as product owners, product managers, we talk with them a lot about that. And if you open your pull request, we're gonna just go there and talk to them like, yeah, you should do like this, you should do like that, because we're very close. Now we have, for the production side, we have everything really smooth. And we are actually migrating all of the other algorithms to our platform as well until the end of the year in Brazil. So it's like a task force, right, that we have to do. But basically it's like that.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, thank you very much. Please don't forget to rate and review the session. And thank you for your attendance.